Hey everyone, this is Mike Andes, and you're listening to the Business Bootcamp Podcast. I have another episode coming out in a couple days, but today we're talking about when you should work for free and my opinion on Bitcoin. Seems like everyone is wanting to know what my thoughts are on this new quote-unquote investing opportunity and where and when you should invest. So let's jump right into it. Before we do get started though, I want to say a quick plug for a webinar that we are going to have December 21st. I'm going to give you some more details on the next episode. However, if you are interested in creating a marketing plan for 2018, you're going to want to sign up for this webinar. It's going to be December 21st at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to go over how to determine the ROI and lifetime value of a customer. We're going to design your personal marketing plan for 2018, especially like the spring. This is specifically made for landscapers, but if you are in any sort of home services industry, plumbing, cleaning, construction, etc., this is going to be a webinar you won't want to miss. We're going to calculate marketing budget and spend for next year. We're going to go over your specific marketing strategies, whether it be Facebook, referral, snail mail, all sorts of things like that. We're going to be talking about how to make your marketing plan anti-fragile so you are not relying on one medium or media to get your marketing message across, and you are not opening yourself up to something bad happening in the marketplace or a certain platform and wiping you out and your marketing plan. So we're going to be talking all about that. It's going to be on this webinar. Like I said, it's really made for landscapers. But if you are in the home services industry, you won't want to miss it. You will create your specific plan and budget for 2018 for your marketing right before January starts, right before the grind starts in 2018. So if you want to sign up for that, it's very easy. All you need to do is text landscape business. That's one word, no space in between. Landscape business, no space in between. Text that to 44222 and you will get signed up for the webinar. All right. So it'll send you back a link and then you can just go send your email, and that is where you'll get the entrance link to the webinar. But that's December 21st. If you want to create a landscape marketing plan for landscapers or any sort of home-based business as far as home services, and you want to make that plan to dominate your market in 2018, check it out. Sign up by texting 44222 and just text landscape business, one word, and that will sign you up. All right, now we're going to jump into a couple questions today. And the first one I want to address is a question that came in from the podcast website, businessbootcamppodcast.com. So I'm going to read this out, and this is, a lot of times when I pick these questions, it's not so much a specific question that I'm trying to answer. I try to look at how many questions are coming around certain themes or topics, and then I choose one of those questions to answer here on the podcast. So this question comes from Joe. It's a little bit, I think I'm a little bit behind on, no, this one's not too long ago. This one's pretty recent. And so this one comes from Joe. He wrote in and he says, "Hey Mike, thanks for taking a look at this. I'm about to launch a video production company focusing on live event media. Think music festivals, conferences, concerts, and sporting events. I am very familiar with this business. I've built a very similar and successful company with a partner for the last 3 years, which I am leaving to embark on a new path. I know I can do it even better by placing a greater emphasis on social media marketing, both in our approach and execution of the media. I'm not going to be the monkey with the camera that makes their media. I'm the guy that integrates with their marketing team to develop the best plan to create exciting and engaging media to get them the most sales. This business is a very high margin, low overhead business. I'd really only need a handful of clients to get my business to the point where it's sustainable. However, there are obviously very few people with the decision-making power to hire me for my services. The question I have is, how should I market to these people? Is it even worth getting a Facebook following and using Facebook ads? Should I focus more on SEO? Or should I make lists of all the events that could use my services and cold call, email everyone I could find with my best pitch? Thank you so much for your help, Joe." All right, so there are some industries or small businesses that if you are wanting to stay small, that necessarily the best idea and best ways, best use of your time is actually not going to be on social media or on those platforms. I would not say to not be on them or not produce content for them, not try to create a following, create content on those platforms. They're obviously great lead generators, especially if you can get a following and one out of those 1,000 people have the decision-making power to hire you for these sort of events. That being said, I think you need a little bit of star power for that to work, for a stranger to call you because they saw your YouTube videos or they've subscribed to you or they follow you on Instagram and they like what you're doing. I think you need a little bit of star power and you need a little bit of a name for that to actually work, where people are going to fly you across the country to do things. However, that being said, this is one case. Joe, obviously, I don't know all of your circumstances, so I'm generalizing a little bit here, but I think this is a case where working for free is going to be the best thing to do. And so this is something that goes against the grain of entrepreneurship because we want to make money. We want to make a sustainable business that's scalable, that we can make money and make more money than we would if we were working a 9 to 5 or working for the man. So this goes against our kind of personality to make money. But it's also the best way to start a business in some sectors. And so for things like video making and creating media for these companies and then trying to integrate with their marketing team to create these great events, these live events, conferences, etc., the best thing to do is do them for free, because this is the reason. Because when it comes to event planning and these big companies that put on these events, 90% of the time they're getting referrals on services such as this. Like if I'm in the event marketing and event planning industry, I know other people in my industry, and I will ask them who they use and who they would recommend to do my video. If I'm new to the event market, if I'm a businessman and I am putting on my first conference and there's gonna be a couple thousand people there, and I don't know who I should have for video, and I don't have a team of my own, might have a marketing team, but I don't have someone that's good at video and things like that, I'm going to go ask some event marketing or event planning company who they use, who they would recommend. And so I would recommend, this is one of those word of mouth businesses that, like you said, you only need a few clients to make it sustainable. You only need a handful of clients, a couple of these big clients every month or one a week of these events that are going on. And then you're constantly working with their marketing team on social media and promoting. However, I would think that you need to go out and you need to go do free. Like, this is the beauty of having something that's very high margin and low overhead costs. This is when the best way to get your foot in the door is by doing stuff for free. People are afraid of doing stuff for free. They think it's going to cheapen their brand and all of that. However, if you do quality work, this is what it comes down to. This is for instance what I talk about, like for instance with my course, or people that are on the monthly pay me monthly for webinars and things like that and consulting, is I'm not afraid to do it for free, because I believe that if I'm providing enough value, they will come back and pay for it, or they're going to go and they're going to tell all their friends that it's worth buying because the value is there. So I would just over deliver and go for free, work for free essentially, and know that if you do a great job, they're going to refer you to 5 other people. And if you're doing the right events, this is what I would focus on, making sure that you are doing the right events that are going to get you the exposure to the right people, not necessarily exposure to your clients. Like, you don't need to do it for a marketing conference. You could do it for any sort of, even an agency or someone that has lots of contacts in this field, this industry. Do the work for free. I know this is very, very difficult, and obviously it comes down to if you can afford that financially, but I would be trying to do a few, start, even if it's 1 or 2 a month, try to do some of these events for free, produce incredible content, because guess what? When they do an event on the other side of the country and they want someone to be able to do camera work for them and marketing that event for them, instead of trying to find someone in that local market, they're just going to say, hey, what would you charge for a weekend in LA? What would you charge for a weekend in New York? We're having another conference, or we're having another big meeting there, and we need to have your services. Then that's when you pitch. That's when you pay, you make them pay. I would get your foot in the door locally, things that are happening around you that you can get to without having a massive amount of overhead and travel costs. And I would do those things for free. Any business where you have low overhead and high margin, many times the best way to get into that market is to do things for free, get the word of mouth, because there are literally probably 10 or 20 people that if they knew your name and liked the work you did, you would be busy every single day of the year in this type of industry. So this isn't for everyone. I can't go around and mowing people's lawns for free because it's a high overhead, low profit margin business. However, if I was doing things like landscape design, where I'm basically sitting behind a computer drawing pictures all day, that is one regard where I could do famous people or people in my city or neighborhood that have a lot of influence. I could do their designs, their landscape designs for free because it's low overhead, high profit margin business, and that's the perfect industry. If it's a word of mouth industry, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like for the cameras, for the videography, the marketing, things like that, it's very word of mouth driven. The people that run those agencies and run those conferences and music festivals, they know 100 other people that do the exact same thing, and they all need your services. When they ask the person you've given it to for free, that person should have a raving review. Make sure you do great work either way, even if it's free, because otherwise you're just doing work for no reason, because you're not going to get the referral because you didn't do a great job. So that's my 2 cents on it. It's how I think about when I do free calls, free webinars like we're doing on the 21st. Like I just over deliver. It's 100% free, thinking about the value for the person. I don't think about anything as far as, oh, I'm giving away my best information for free. I don't think about it like that. I think about it as, these people might tell someone else. This will convert later down the road. There's a long-term strategy. And if you can afford it short-term, go for the long-term strategy. And what I mean by that is if you can afford the financial, lag time in giving free events away for a while, or getting your foot in the door, getting those leads, I think it's just going to pay off huge, whether it be the person wants different events later on down the road. Because when they come to you asking for more services, that's when you start charging, right? So if you do stuff for free, you say, hey, I'll volunteer, I'll do this for free. When they come back to you though, now they'll start offering, hey, what's your price, by the way? Like, I know you did this last one, it was great. What's your price now? Because we wanted this other event. And that's when you can charge a premium, because now they're not risking it trying another service. They're willing to pay a premium because they know that you're going to deliver. So that's kind of how I look at it. So that's the first thing we want to talk about in the episode today. Is the other one I want to talk about is Bitcoin. I've had a bunch of people in the past 3 to 4 weeks ask me my opinion on Bitcoin and whether or not they should invest in Bitcoin and whether or not I invest in Bitcoin. So if you haven't seen it in the news recently, Bitcoin's been around a little more popular the past couple months because it's made some significant jumps and all sorts of things, and going up to 17,000 and dropping and all this other stuff. And so this is my opinion on Bitcoin. It's my opinion on a lot of things when it comes to the stock market, and that is, my question to you is, are you investing or are you gambling? I truly believe that Bitcoin right now is a gamble. Now, that being said, do I think it's going to succeed? Yeah, probably. I think cryptocurrency will eventually work. Like it makes a lot of sense in a lot of different areas. However, I think that right now you have no control. Like, this is the thing that even about the stock market that I don't like to invest. The reason I don't like to invest in right now, I would rather take that money, because I have places I can put it in my business, investing in other places where I have much, much more control. Because if you put money in Bitcoin right now, you have absolutely no control if it drops or if it goes up, or what the decisions are being made by the CEOs of Coinbase and these other companies that have, hold power in the Bitcoin area. And the thing I hate about Bitcoin is how much it's jumping right now. Like, it went up, yes, doubled in a day. Then the next, it went past like $18,000 at one point for Bitcoin, and then it dropped like $2,000 the next day. Like, if you really want to have a stock or any sort of investment that one day is worth, jumps 100% and the next day takes a 40% drop, like if that is your investing portfolio, yes, you're going to have high risk, high returns, but I wouldn't put your life savings in it. I would put, chump change or your, money you don't mind losing into Bitcoin, because yes, it could take over the world and you could be a billionaire in a little bit of time. Like the thing is, you have absolutely no control. And so if you've read my book, you know kind of my investing philosophy. It's start with the things that you have most control over, but that take the most time. Like if I invest in my business, it takes more of my time as I scale up the company. Then to go things that you have a little more control over, but are a little more passive as far as how much time you spend. Things like your real estate portfolio or certain types of stocks and bonds that you have little bits of more control over, but a whole lot less than if you put in your own business. However, it's more passive. It doesn't take a lot of your time. You can park the money in an investment like a real estate place, get money out in rent every single month and get a cap rate of some return and cash on cash, things like that. And then you got the stock market, very, very low touch as far as time invested. However, it's also very, very low amount of control that you have over. You have no control over if Apple decides to do some product and it's an absolute disaster and their stock gets cut in half. You have no control over if Facebook puts out a feature and it jumps their stock by double. Like you have no control over it. And so I wouldn't be putting your life savings in it. And I think that people, if they are doing that, they're simply gambling. Not to say that isn't a successful strategy. Not to say that it's not a successful strategy. People have done it and they make a bunch of money. People obviously have become millionaires and billionaires in this Bitcoin space because they took a gamble. And yes, if you have money that you want to gamble, go for it. But in my opinion, it's a gamble. It's not an investment at this point because there is no stable there's no stable like track record of where Bitcoin's going. Could it go to bust tomorrow? Absolutely. There's nothing saying that tomorrow it doesn't drop to $1,000 per share or whatever of Bitcoin. And then what? Then what? Do you stay in it for 20 more years? Is it a fad? Like no one knows. Like, do I think it's going to become one day? Does it have a lot of positive? Yes, I think so. I think I could become also more educated in this whole field of Bitcoin. So I know some people out there are screaming at me saying that, no, you're saying something wrong. It's so right. It's going to happen. Yes, I think it's going to happen eventually. There'll be a cryptocurrency that'll take over and it will become mainstream. However, I think at this point, for everyone that's asked me this question, I haven't responded because I just want to make one blanket statement here on the podcast. If you're gonna look for investments, look for things that you have more control over or things that have a track record. So more control over is your business, because if you have a good business, you should know that if you pump money into that, it should be able to scale more, and then you should get a return on that investment. Or look for at least things that have a track record, companies that have been in the stock market for 15, 20 years, that you see a current, that went through the bubble, that went through 2007, 2008, and were able to get past it and have continued to grow. I'd be looking for those traits if you're looking to invest. If you're looking to gamble, if you're wanting to throw some money that you could either, multiply by 100 or go to zero, throw it in Bitcoin. So that's my 2 cents. I truly believe that unless you have money to lose, that you want to put it in things that you have more control over, because the last thing I would want personally is someone else running my dollars down to zero and I have absolutely no control over it. So that's just my 2 cents. I know I'm wrong on some of those things, and history it's going to play out, and I could be completely wrong, and Bitcoin takes off and more people that are buying it even now. Like if you look at it, even a few weeks ago when it went over, I think it was $10,000 and a whole bunch of people jumped in. The next day, it literally went up to $18,000 because so many people got involved in the Bitcoin. And to see that amount of the bandwagon effect happening, the news headlines all of a sudden have a whole bunch of Bitcoin about how successful it is. Okay, let's all jump in. I get really, really worried when that happens, when people in the news and headline readers are dictating what a stock is doing. I get really, really worried about that, whether or not it's going to be able to get through an economic crisis. Like, what happens to Bitcoin if tomorrow a whole bunch of people pull out? Are all those headline readers then like, oh, I got to pull my money out? Then what happens? There's a massive drop again. Like, so that's just my 2 cents. I think if you're looking for an investment, it's better to put it in your own business. If you don't have your own business, look for a track record in stocks, bonds, real estate, etc. So my 2 cents. I hope that helps somebody. Again, this is Mike Andes. You've been listening to the Business Bootcamp podcast. And don't forget to, if you are in the home services business, make sure you get on that webinar. We're going to be talking about 2018 and how you can market like crazy in your current existing demographic and completely dominate in 2018. Just text landscape business, that's one word, no space in between, to 44222. Again, Mike Andes, Business Bootcamp podcast. I'll see you next time. Until then, be great. Nothing else.